Welcome in folks to another Fallout 76 video, and in today's video we're going to be showcasing a build that some of you new and veteran players might find very useful and rewarding to work towards during your journeys across Appalachia and beyond. That's right folks, we're going to be showcasing my Junkies Shotgun Build, which in my opinion is a very optimal and useful build for you high health players. But before we get into the video, if you can hit that like button so that more people in the Fallout 76 community can see this, and if you feel you're missing out on videos, consider clicking that bell notification button so that you can keep up to date whenever I post a new video. So let's get into it! The Junkies build, as stated in my previous video, is a build that I've been using for probably 90% of the time I've been playing Fallout 76, and most of the builds I currently use are based around the Junkies effect, so I highly consider checking out my previous video on the Junkies Sneak Rifle build, where you can see an in-depth look into the addictions and the mutations recommended for this build, which you can find here. And I'll also leave a link to that video in the description below, because in this video we're mainly going to be focusing on the legendary perk cards, the perk cards for this build, and also the weapons and armor that you can use to make this shotgun build very optimal. Now, I love using shotguns in Fallout 76, and I mean, who doesn't love using shotguns? Getting up close and personal, and in some cases, depending on the weapon, even from long range, pumping lead and even EC cartridges into enemies. And with that being said, if you're a high health player and you want to feel like Terry Crews in The Expendables, while also dealing out as much damage as humanly possible with your playstyle, then look no further, because after a lot of trial and error, I feel I've put together the following Junkies Shotgun build that I feel can keep you pumping lead into your foes while also being an unforgiving shotgunner of the wasteland. So let's start with the special stats. As stated before, for you new players, you will need to invest a lot of time into ranking up the following legendary perk cards to boost your special stats. Now, you don't need to have every perk card maxed out, but as I've stated before, it doesn't hurt to have them maxed out. You'll need max rank of legendary strength, legendary agility, legendary intelligence, and legendary luck, as this will give you +5 to each of your perk points in each of those categories, capped at 15 perk points max. So make sure to get those rank ups in first, but if you're new to the game, you can mimic this build to the best of your ability. Your special points, once you have those legendary perk cards maxed out, will need to look a little bit like this. 12 points into strength, 6 into perception, 7 into endurance, 5 into charisma, 3 into intelligence, 9 into agility, and 14 into luck. Once you have those special points allocated, you can use the following perk cards to optimize this build. In the strength category, we have the following. Max rank of bandolier so that your ballistic weapon ammo weighs 90% less. Rank 1 of barbarian so that every point of strength adds +2 to your damage resistance. Max rank of expert shotgunner, and master shotgunner so that your shotguns now do +60% extra damage. And also max rank of traveling pharmacy so that the weight of all of your chems are reduced by 90%, because as we've mentioned before, you're a Junkies build, so you're going to be carrying a lot of chems. In the perception category, we have the following. Max rank of concentrated fire so that VATS will target limbs and also focuses your fire so that you gain high accuracy and damage per shot. And also max rank of skeet shooter so that your shotguns have excellent accuracy and spread. In the endurance category, we have the following. Max rank of chem resistant so that you gain complete immunity to chem addictions, because remember, being a Junkies build, you're going to be utilizing chems as much as possible, and we don't want any extra nasty addictions that might cause this build to be affected negatively. Max rank of Chem Fiend so that your chems will last 100% longer. And also rank 2 of Ironclad so that you gain +20 to your damage and energy resistance while not wearing power armor. In the charisma category, we have the following. Max rank of Tenderizer so that your target receives 10% more damage for 10 seconds after you attack. Strange in numbers so that positive mutation effects are 25% stronger if teammates are mutated too. and inspirational, so that when you're on a team, you gain plus 5% extra more XP. In the intelligence category, we have the following. Max rank of batteries included, so that your energy weapon ammo weighs 90% less. And I will say that this card is a must if you're going to be using the likes of a Gauss shotgun. Yeah, you Gauss weapon users know exactly what I'm talking about. And also max rank of Demolition Expert, so that your explosives now do plus 60% extra damage. And remember folks, this card also affects any weapons with the explosive legendary effect, and also the likes of Gauss weapons, as they come with a base explosive damage effect built in, so keep that in mind. In the agility category, we have the following. Max rank of Adrenaline, so that you gain plus 10%, max 60% damage for 30 seconds per kill. And this card is a must and an all-around perk card for any build. Rank 1 of Gunfu, so that VAT swaps targets on each kill, with 10% damage being dealt to your next target. Rank 2 of Evasive, so that each agility point adds plus 2 to your damage and energy resistance, being capped at plus 30 while wearing no power armor. Max rank of Enforcer, so that your shotguns gain a 15% stagger chance and a 30% chance to cripple a limb. Very useful against enemies, for example, the Mylar Queens or Super Mutant Behemoths and even Scorch Beasts. And also max rank of Action Boy, so that your action points now regenerate 45% faster. And lastly, in the luck category, we have the following. Rank 1 of Critical Savvy, so that critical hits now only consume 85% of your critical meter. Max rank of Starch Gene, so that you will never mutate from rads, and Radaway will never cure mutations. Max rank of Class Freak, so that the negative effects of your mutations are reduced by 75%. Remember folks, if you're wondering what mutations to use, I would recommend checking out my previous build video on the Junkie Sneak Rifle build, which you can find in the description of this video. Max rank of 4-leaf Clover, so that each hit in VATS has an excellent chance to fill your critical meter. And also as well, max rank of Better Criticals, so that VATS criticals now do plus 40% extra damage. And lastly, Bloody Mess, so that you deal plus 15% bonus damage, and your enemies will now explode into a gory red paste. And before we move on to our next section for this build, I want to also include that a very useful perk card that works very well in synergy with this perk card setup is max rank of the legendary perk card Taking One for the team, as this will mean that enemies will take 40% extra damage when they attack you if you're on a team, seeing as this build will not be utilizing sneaking. However, I will say that if you can manage to pull off sneak attacks, you can use the legendary perk card Follow Through, as this will mean that your range sneak damage increases damage to your targets by plus 40% for 10 seconds. Now that we've covered your legendary perk cards, your special stats, and the perk cards for this shotgun build, let's move on to the fun part that brings this build to life, and that's your weapons and armor. Now, when it comes to your weapons, you're mostly going to be utilizing the likes of, and as this build suggests, shotguns. So let's take a look at some of the shotguns that you can use. Some of the weapons that you can utilize, and I also recommend trying to aim towards the likes of shotguns with the Junkies effect, as any weapons with the Junkie effect and with the correct amount of addictions, with a max of 5 addictions, can boost your damage output by plus 50% extra damage. And for example, as you can see with my Junkies primed Gauss shotgun, it sits at a base damage of 613, but when I equip it, the damage increases to 767 because of the Junkies effect. You can even see with the likes of my Junkies combat shotgun, which goes from 249 base damage all the way up to 311 because of the demolition perk card and addictions that I have in place. Another great weapon that you can use, because this build is aimed towards high health players, is the likes of weapons with the Juggernaut's effect, as this will mean that weapons will increase its damage as your health increases. But as you can see, it sits at a base damage of 613, but when equipped, it increases up to 693 because of how high my health bar is. Some other great roles that you can use for this build are the likes of anti-armor shotguns, and also as well, the anti-armor effect means that your weapons will ignore 50% of your target's armor, and depending on the corresponding rolls you receive with this effect, these weapons can be very, very useful. Now, moving on to your armor, and as stated in my Junkies Sneak Rifle video, because you're a high health build, you want to be aiming mostly for the likes of Vanguard pieces, as this will boost your energy and damage resistance by plus 35 per piece equipped, the higher your health. When it comes to those 2 or 3 star rolls, that's entirely up to you, but I would recommend, as stated previously, any effect that can grant you the likes of AP refresh, weapon weight and ammo weight reduction effects can be very beneficial. However, if you make sure you're mainly focusing on obtaining those main Vanguard effects, you should be golden. Also to note, try obtaining the likes of the Buttress mod for your armor, as this will increase your damage, energy, and even your radiation resistance with each piece that you have this mod attached to. And if you can, try obtaining the Deep Pocketed mods, as this will increase your carry capacity by plus 10 with each piece that you have this mod attached to. And there you have it, folks. That's an in-depth walkthrough of my Junkies Shotgun build. I want to also add that it might take you a bit of time obtaining and unlocking all of these weapons, armor, perk cards, and other attributes to this build, but hopefully this video will have given you some motivation and understanding to how this build works. Like I said earlier, I've been using the Junkies build for probably 90% of the time I've been playing Fallout 76, and after a lot of trial and error and testing, I feel I've put together a build that is an excellent addition for you high health players. And have fun with this, folks, and heck, even improve upon what I've created here, or even follow this build down to a T. It's entirely up to you. And if you liked this video and found it beneficial, consider hitting the subscribe button for more Fallout 76 build videos in the future. I also stream 5 days a week over on Twitch, so if you want to see this build and other builds in action, or even just want to hang out with some of the Fallout community, I'll leave a link to my Twitch in the description below. If you want to also connect with more people who play Fallout 76 and want to join our community, you can join my Discord server, which I'll leave in a link in the description below. If you like the work I produce and want to support me in a more personal way, you can now subscribe to me on Patreon. Patreon members will get a host of benefits, such as access to Patreon-only channels in my Discord server, where you can connect with other Patreon members and more. With being a Patreon member, you'll also gain extra benefits within my channel, such as being mentioned and memorialized in the credits to each of my videos. Gold members will also receive a free item and a permanent discount code to my store, which will be available to all members within my community and launching very soon. I want to also say a massive thank you to all of my followers over on Twitch and here on YouTube, as it means the world to me that you enjoy my content and the work that I produce. And lastly, to you, the viewer, the person who stumbled upon this video, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, Vault Dwellers, stay safe out there in the wasteland, and I'll catch you all in the next video.